Hi, my name is June, and these are the mountains where I live. More specifically, I live on the California side of the Sierra Nevada mountain range with my husband and my little dog. Welcome to my channel, where I endeavor to entertain and bring a smile to the faces of my viewers by my sewing shenanigans on the mountain. Okay, in this video, I will be making a vintage Vogue dress from one of their reproduction patterns. Now, a lot of companies, Simplicity, McCall's, aren't that great about reproducing their vintage patterns from a former time. But this one, I'm pretty confident with this one because I've made a vintage Vogue pattern before years ago, and it turned out pretty cute, as cute as the pattern envelope. Okay, first I had to look at the instructions. I prefer zippers to button plackets, so laying your pattern out according to the grain lines is very important if you want your garment to lay and drape right. And you may be wondering why I am in a t-shirt and capris. And that is because California is going through something that it goes through almost every year. We didn't have one last year, but it is what I call, affectionately, a faux spring. And it's 70 degrees now, and it's been that way for about a week. And next week we have snow on the forecast. Stay stitching is your friend. Don't skip this step. A common mistake that a lot of new sewists make is skipping stay stitching or not cutting something out on the grain line or skipping understitching. All of these things have a purpose. Stay stitching in this instance not only stabilized it, but it helped me press a nice crisp line. And I would need a crisp line, a crisp smooth line, as I would be top stitching this to the front of the garment. One of the many reasons why cutting on the grain line is so important is this dart. This dart was put in such a way that you had to stretch the fabric, and this particular instruction that the pattern had would not have been able to be followed had I not cut it on the grain. Cutting it according to the grain put it near a bias line. The suggested fabrics for this dress were wool jersey, handkerchief linen, or a lightweight crepe. I only managed to find a polyester crepe, but I loved the print. It was very close to the pattern envelope. But the polyester crepe was rather tightly woven, and I had trouble getting my basting needle through it. I'm machine stitching directly over my basting stitches, and the basting stitches disappear. By putting in 2 rows of gathering stitches, it's much easier to pull up those gathers. For any beginning sewists, I have a tutorial for doing various different stitches, including the gathering stitch, and I'll put it down in the description. I had to take my last project off my dress form because the best way to put this dress together was using a dress form so that I could properly drape and fit it. And you'll notice that as I'm doing these gathering stitches, as with any gathering stitches, that I'm using the longest machine stitch length on my machine. That's the only way to get the bobbin thread to actually pull loosely. And then I'm also stay stitching this piece here because this is a lower part, and it's gonna go over and be top stitch over the other ruffles in the front, if you understood what I was saying at all. I had a lot of trouble visualizing as I put this dress together. So if you didn't understand my description, you are not alone, but don't worry, you'll see it all in the reveal. If you're subscribed to my channel and one of those reasons is so you can see more of my puppy, well, finally you get to see him in another position other than sleeping, because usually that's the way I can actually catch a shot of Anakin, is that's he doesn't like the camera. Either that or he's offended by how much content, photos, or videos that I post of him on social media. But he is my only puppy love at the moment. Remember how I said that I prefer zippers to button plackets? I thought I had a color in my stash that would work, but no bueno. So as I had to go down to JoAnn's, I placed an order for groceries too, because I can't justify taking an hour drive only for zippers. These are the only two in the color I need, and I'm gonna have to shorten them, which I really adore doing that, but at least I know how, so. Are you ever in JoAnn's and you're looking for a very specific fabric? Today for me it's something spring and cheery and something like that. And you find yourself gravitating towards the autumn fabrics and the fall colors. Yeah, I have that problem. Back home, the storm was coming in, and I caught a moment of the sun peeking through the clouds and lighting up the trees. So pretty. I tried doing this on my dress form, and there was just not enough room, too much to keep track of. So this was the only big enough space for me to gather up the front ruffles. I also had a bit of a deadline because I wanted to get as much of this dress, if not all of it, done before the 14th. I would be adding a pretty big distraction on the 14th. I was very pleased with how this dress was coming along. This is the first time I've seen it take shape. So I had to prepare it and pin it up to do the top stitching. Every time I make a dress, I replace a ready-made one in my closet. So I was really looking forward to putting this one up in my closet. As far as snow this year, we haven't gotten too much of it, and what we do get is like a dusting, and it melts off right away. So this didn't stay for long. We managed to get buried last year, but this year it's not been too bad. I had to transfer some markings on the back pieces. There were 2 double-ended darts. I think that's what you call these types of darts. If it's something else, I can't remember. And then there were these cute little baby-sized darts on the back of the neck. And all of these things had to be done to prepare the back piece before it was joined to the front pieces. And I also had to gather up the left shoulder before stitching it to the back piece. This pressing tool is called a seam roll. It's like a tailor's ham, only for sleeves. I do a lot of pressing in my videos because that is such a big part of sewing. Pressing is kind of like beating the fabric into submission, making it do what you want it to do. I was so focused on trying to get this dress done before the 14th that I totally forgot to film the other zipper later. So, yeah, you'll only get this one. But you have seen me put in zippers before. I am planning a tutorial in the future focused on zippers though. I wasn't quite as far along with this dress as I was hoping, but tomorrow was the 14th, and Anakin and I had to take a little road trip off the mountain down to Sacramento. It's usually a decent drive every time I go to town. I would be going a bit further than I usually go, but I have to drive this canyon every time I go to JoAnn's. So I try to make my trips count, like getting groceries. And it really is a pretty drive. I really love living up here. And just FYI, I wasn't driving distracted. I pulled over at a safe spot every time I wanted to record or stop recording. There are those of you, here's looking at you, Brent, who would be very concerned by this footage. I just really wanted to share the journey, that or make you guys carsick. So Anakin and I are just kind of waiting now for the lady I was supposed to meet about another antidepressant. I mean, that's what it feels like. It feels like I'm about to make a trade-off for, you know, some sort of oh, that's awesome. You like him. You like him. Because it's a puppy, Mom. It's a puppy. So, like, we're just pet sitting, right? So yeah, we have a new addition. Also, stay tuned for the bonus content after the reveal for a film noir take on breaking the news to my husband. But this puppy has been a handful, and is why I have not had a video in the last 30 days. But I'm a two-dog lady. One for comfort, and the other for comfort and company for the other dog. On those occasions when I have to video edit, or on those rare times when I have to go somewhere and I can't bring my dogs. If you were here in the early days of my channel, you will know that I had an elderly Chihuahua named Yoda. But it's just been me and Anakin for about 1.5 years now. So as these are the finishing touches on the dress, and the hem is what I'm working on now, we're almost done. We're on the home stretch. Right here, I'm doing the vertical hemming stitch. I prefer to put my hems in by hand, and this is often my go-to for dresses. I have a tutorial that I'll link down in the description. That video also features the other dress I made from a Vogue Reproduction pattern. I think it turned out a lot like the pattern envelope, except I'm not unrealistically thin like that artist's rendition there. And I paired it with a pair of black gloves that I got at an estate sale, and a hat, a vintage hat I got off eBay.
A little different than all the rest. I'm quite old-fashioned, wear a hat, sometimes play chess. And when I'm out, I'm looking for that vintage fling. But all complexions that I adore, so hard to
Where were you on the night of February the 14th?
I can't remember. I know I have an alibi. My dog was with me and we went for a ride.
Listen, Dollface, what kind of fool do you take me for? You were gone all day. You don't like to leave the house ever.
True, but whatever they said I did, I didn't. Honest.
Listen, Doll, the evidence is all around. It's everywhere.
Well, it's Anakin. Anakin chews on these.
What? Anakin, our dog that has no teeth?
Well, you have a point.
And unless you've all of a sudden taken to chewing on my socks and leaving them all throughout the house, you've got some explaining to do. If you have started to chew on my socks, you've really got some explaining to do.
Well, about that. Well, maybe I did do a little something.
All right, now we're getting somewhere.
Well, okay. Brace yourself.
How about you take it from the top, Dollface? Spill the beans.
Well, he's cute, and he's fluffy, and hold him. He's cute and fluffy.
He's a cute little fella, isn't he?
And he's cute and fluffy, and Anakin likes him.
Hey, Ron, is that yours?
That might be his, officer.
Thorin? What kind of name is Thorin? About
It's his name.
About Busta. Big Al.
It's
Well, Little Al.
he already has a name tag. That's his name. See, isn't he cute? He's a cute little guy.
He is a cute little fella. Hey there, Squirt.
You can break character now.
What are you talking about, Dame?
Oh, okay. Oh, did you one up too, Annie? You're joking, oh baby. Oh.
Annie, what's with the Annie? First no Buster and then Annie?
Anakin Skywalker.
He's tough name,
Tough names.
Thank yous for watching all the way into the end. And if you like her channel, please like and subscribe.
What he said.